Come here, baby.
This is what Central Texas should feel like during the winter.
Wow!
Maybe a light jacket and enjoy the outdoors.
Ahoy!
But the weather doesn't always do what it should.
Like from right here.
February 2021, the temperature dropped to single digits.
Just ice.
Homes here in Pflugerville and throughout the state lost power during the winter storm.
As much as we knew to get ready for, we got ready for. Wrapping pipes, trying to bleed faucets, stuff like that.
Stuff Joe Galvan and his family knew well. They had extra training.
But in Iraq, you do a little bit of everything.
But even here, training goes so far.
It was really terrifying.
The house hit 40 degrees on day 1. On day 2, the family went to a friend's home, a home without water. But being without water was safer for Joe than being without power.
Because I had insulin that I had to try to transport.
Insulin requires refrigeration. A Texas Department of State Health Services report shows 246 people died due to the storm, 25 people because their medical equipment did not have power. 161 mothers, fathers, children, grandparents froze to death. The power was purposefully cut. Too much demand and not enough power from the plants to put on the grid.
Feels like we're just waiting for the next one. Horrifying to think how many more people are going to die because of inaction.
Lawmakers had the chance to fix the power grid more than a decade ago. A deadly storm hit in February 2011 left millions without power for days. This federal report recommended weatherization standards. Lawmakers didn't listen. No enforcement.
Weak oversight.
This time, the storm hit as the 87th legislative session began.
Poor communication.
Quickly, blame went all around.
And a lack of coordination.
Natural gas companies said power outages dropped production. Power producers said natural gas didn't deliver the needed supply. They're both right.
The system we have to be without power for such an extended period of time is unacceptable.
The Texas Railroad Commission regulates natural gas producers, pipelines, and processors. The Public Utility Commission regulates power plants, transmission lines, local distributors, and retailers. They're supposed to work hand in hand.
Do you think Texans deserve an apology from the Public Utility Commission? The fact that you're hesitating.
Lawmakers pressed PUC for answers.
Have Texans suffered through this event?
Bill Magnus was president for the Electric Reliability Council of Texas at the time, ERCOT.
It's unacceptable.
It was his job to manage the grid. He told lawmakers Texas was 4 minutes, 37 seconds away from catastrophic blackout, meaning no power anywhere for weeks.
Demand that was skyrocketing at the same time that supply was going down the hill.
First, gas well heads froze. Then clouds and snow crippled solar. Wind turbines froze. And when power plants went down, the natural gas side took another crippling blow. Same 2011 problems, left unfixed for a decade.
Oh, here we go. A few photos of the North Distribution Center.
Daniela Silva volunteers with Community Resilience Trust, CRT.
So this was food, hot food that we were giving out.
During the storm, they found hotels for the homeless and offered to help anyone in Austin, anyone they could reach.
There had been a wellness check done, and that an elderly couple had passed away in their home. You're trying all of this work to help people, to literally save people. It feels like you didn't do enough, that you didn't move fast enough. It's like, it was a moment of desperation, like we failed. We failed.
It was a downward spiral where gas failure caused a power failure, caused a bigger gas failure, caused a bigger power failure.
Michael Weber is a professor in energy resources at the University of Texas at Austin.
So if you don't have that first gas failure, you can keep the gas flowing more readily.
Reports show the storm cost Texans $130 billion, but those who sold natural gas made billions. Energy Transfer alone made $2.4 billion off the storm. Federal reports show gas sellers marked up the price of its raw fuel by 500 to 4,000%. No price cap on gas.
One of the most energy abundant spots in the world had an energy shortage. And one of the richest places in the world now is hit with a huge bill that even we can't afford.
Power, unlike natural gas, has a cost cap. But because of the high gas price, ERCOT allowed that power to sell at the max, $9,000 per megawatt hour. It was an incentive to get power on the grid. When the blackout stopped, ERCOT still allowed that max charge to stay for an extra day and a half. $16 billion on the backs of anyone who pays an electric bill.
We got to change the way we look and we think about these things.
Craig Nazer with the Sierra Club Lone Star chapter wanted lawmakers to prioritize energy efficiency, keep costs low.
The extremes both ways are going to get wider. So even though as the temperature gets hotter, cold spells are going to get colder because the extremes are getting wider.
The legislature didn't cover energy efficiency, other than requiring cities to use natural gas. In all, lawmakers passed 24 laws aimed to fix power problems. They learned some ERCOT board leaders didn't even live in Texas, so now a law requires everyone on the board to be a Texas resident. Indebted utility companies can get a state-backed long-term loan instead of sending the bill straight to electricity customers. Now everyone pays over decades. Senate Bill 3 put most of the weight on PUC's shoulders. The commissioners, all new, had to write weatherization
This meeting of the
rules
Public Utility Commission of Texas will come to order to consider
and set
matters.
penalties for their side of power operations.
We implemented more reforms in a shorter amount of time than any other grid in the U.S.
We pressed PUC Chairman Peter Lake about the commission's work.
The market reliability piece is being implemented over time, over the next several years. Most importantly, the operational reliability is in place now.